Alright guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead, and today we're doing another Sam's haul for bulk meat. Now this is meat bought by the case. The first thing I want to get out of the way, because it seems to be just the thing, when you go to Sam's, or even when you go to Costco, if you want to buy it in the case, you go over by the meat department door, you ring the bell, they come out, you say, I want a case of, and then you tell them what you want a case of. In this case, it is whole eye of round. This is a choice. So we like this for a very simple reason, and that is because of the size. This is exactly perfect for us for multiple days. We can break it down very easily. I love doing our bigger cuts, but it takes so long to process, and you're going to see when we show you the inside of this case how these are just smaller and easier to deal with on a smaller scale. If you've got a family of 2 to 4, taking one of these out at a time and working them through is super easy. You just let one thaw and go. Now, before we open up and show you what's inside, honey, give us the specs on this case and what it cost.
Okay, so we bought a 70-pound case. It is $4.98 a pound. And so this whole box cost us $348.
Now that sounds like a lot, all right? But the first thing I want to say to you is if you go buy a whole cow, we understand. But you're going to be paying upwards of $5 to $7 a pound. That means you're paying $5 to $7 a pound for soup bones. You're paying $5 to $7 a pound for hamburger. You're paying $5 to $7 a pound for every cut. Now that's great when it comes to ribeyes and stuff, but you have to buy all that other stuff. For us, we're looking for a versatile cut that we can do lots of things with. Now, here's where it gets fun. There is 11 of those chunks of meat. The one that's thawed out and these. So you can just take one out and do what you need to do. I think this is a lot of meat, boys. 70 pounds is a lot of meat in this way because this is all dense cuts.
It's a lot of steaks.
There's a lot of meat in that there thing. So we're going to take and get rid of this. Ugh. And we're going to get back to what we were working on here. Now this one's thawed out. And the first thing I want to say is do this over a sink. If you cut this open right here, all the fluid's going to get everywhere. It's going to make a mess. Don't do that. Trust me, your wife will not like it. Ask me how I know.
He's always our butcher.
I am. But to be fair, when deer season comes, you do a lot. So
I do a lot.
you do a lot. So the first thing I like to do is fully have it thaw out. I know some people like to work with these when they're a little cold. I'm not a fan. I'll show you why. Because when I first get it out, the first thing I do is do a light trim. It's just, I don't really like some call it a silver skin. I call it just a thin layer of fat here. But I'll just do a little cut off, you know, just to clean it up a little bit. It literally takes no time and I'm done. Boom, just like that. A little bit there. Now, back in the day when our pups were around, we would smoke that and do things with it. But we have found that as we're getting older now, we're not so much into it. So there's your actual cut. Now, you're going to find you got a point, and then you got a taper. Both these end chunks, we have found it's best just to take them and cut them off. All right? My knives are not super sharp today, so bear with me. Now, this gives you these two chunks. Now, when I do this, this automatically becomes my stew meat. And I want to show you how I break these down, because what you're seeing me do, I'm not hurrying. This is how I do it. So all I do is just cut into it, make it into nice chunks. I can always break it down more when I'm using it for another meal later. But just simply that fast. And usually she'll keep the bag close because by the time we're done, I always end up with some more chunks. Don't ask me why. Now, if you have a family that's probably like 4 people or better, I'm going to make this even easier for you. So, honey, basically there's her stew meat cutoffs. Now, there is still a taper here. So what I like to do, honestly, is do this. And now you got a beautiful beef roast. I mean, it's just perfect. You can season it heavily. It's in the bag. Usually we will throw stuff in the bag and let it bag marinate. But for right now, we're going to let that one go. So this is what you have left. Now this is where it gets a little interesting because there's actually two parts to this and I don't see our other part. Honey, our tenderizer.
Oh.
But here's your choices. This is the small end. And if I start from the small end, what I do is about 1/2 to 3/4. Is it in the drawer, baby?
Maybe.
I'll do what I call almost like a medallion steak. It's just a standard steak. All right, so I'll run a couple of those off.
See it down there.
And generally, making these small steaks is perfect if you've got somebody that's eating light or a kid or a grandkid in our case. So then what I do is I will tenderize it. But first, we got to go get the tenderizer. So hold on a second. All right, now that we've got our smaller steaks set up here, I got a separate cutting board because I don't like to tenderize on my wood board. So I'll set it down, set the steaks down, and then I got a meat tenderizer. All it does is pierce it. So once back and forth, flip. Once back and forth. And now you got an eye around that's fully ready to be cooked. It's tenderized, it's ready to go. Now we've got these Tupperware containers. We actually got these at Dollar Tree. And we literally just put the steaks in there. You can put a marinade on them, you can season them, or you can just leave them the way they are. And then over like a 2 or 3 day period, we'll pull them out and just cook them. But here's where things get what I call fancy, even though they're not. So what I do, once we get to the kind of squared off section, is I cut steaks for me and Missy. So I go about like a 1/2 inch in, and I cut. And I stop just before the end. And then I start another one about a 1/2 inch to 3/8. And then I cut all the way through. So now what you have is a beautiful butterflied steak. Now that's how a steak should look. And the fold's even, it's laying flat. So when you start your first sear, you put it down and it'll lay flat after that when you flip it. So once we do that, we'll go ahead and finish processing this. Now we got a second one. And then as I said, you take and you want to tenderize these. So you go once across and back, flip. And if you have the hammer type, just bang the crap out of it, it's fine. And boom. You have a beautiful butterflied out eye of round. Put it in there. We're going to do this one. And don't be afraid to tenderize it more. Just do it as much or as little as you want. And as you can see, it's just a gorgeous cut. Now, when you get like this, sometimes this is kind of a hard mess, so I'll try and cut it. We got grandkids coming over this weekend, so I'll probably just go all the way through with these with steak. Just because it's easier. And yes, everybody says my knife's oversized for this project, but these old style knives.
He just likes his old style knife.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and just take us all the way through for the grandkids. So now, the last two, throw them on here. Flip it over. Throw it down. Honey, show them. So we'll put a lid on that if you want to marinate it, whatever. But then it's in the fridge. So now you see we've processed everything. You've got your steak, your tips or your stew meat. You got a roast. You got multiple steaks. all done, all in one. And it's so much faster and easier. Don't get me wrong, I love our chuck roll, but it takes so long to process a chuck roll.
Yes.
And then you basically have to refreeze it because you can't eat it all in one run, really. So by doing this, you're working with less meat at a time, but you're still getting that amazing price. Under $5 for steaks, for roasts, for stew meat. Go in the store and try and buy quality beef for this price. You're not going to get anything. Buying it in bulk this way, yes, it's an investment. But what happens is you get your investment back by how much money you save. And the smaller amounts is what really does it. There is a convenience sake to this. It's cheaper and it's a smaller amount, so we can take it out. Now that there's just the two of us, especially now that our pups aren't here anymore, man, we got to watch how much meat we thaw out at a time because you don't want to have a giant mess in front of you. Now, I will say this. These cuts are more, they're softer than a sirloin, but tougher than a ribeye. How's that? I don't know what else to say. The way I tenderize them, if you want them softer, juicier, tender, just hit them a little more. Hit them a little more. It's as simple as that. This is like a $4 tool. You can get it anywhere.
They're very lean cuts, though.
Yes.
So you're not going to get a ton of marbling in them. And you're not going to get a ton of fat with them.
Yes.
So that's why you use the meat tenderizer. But this has quickly become my favorite steak.
Yeah, because it takes, it's what I call, it takes a knife and a fork well. So you cut it, you know, like with a ribeye, they kind of take a knife and they just kind of push apart. This has a little bit more oomph to it, a little more firm, but not so much chew as like a tough old sirloin. So that's just my opinion on it. I think when I tell you you can have steak every night if you want it for $5 a pound, you could quickly tell me, okay, I can deal with it. I will just tenderize it a little more. And I can tell you from experience that the stew meat and the roasts, slow and slow, and you will have some very tender meat. It will break apart. It will be delicious. You can even take this and super low and slow cook it and then shred it up, put some barbecue sauce on it, and it's great. It's awesome. So, $5 a pound. Let us know down in the comments, how does it cost around your area? Because we've learned very quickly by other people commenting on our other videos on bulk meat that prices are wildly different depending upon where you live. People in Arizona have been talking, California have been talking, Illinois, Massachusetts. So tell us where you're from. Tell us what this costs or what other options in meat that you're trying so maybe we can go check some new ones out ourselves. And with that said, if you haven't already, go down, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos. Give us a like. And with that said, we'll see you in the next one. Now,
I will cook you dinner now.
Yeah. She couldn't find this because she put it away in the wrong spot. Now she has to cook me steak. That's the payment. I love you.
I love you.